Good evening everyone and welcome to Formula Pi testing round 3, or extra testing as it's otherwise known, because this wasn't originally planned, but due to popular requests we have decided to run some obstacle testing tonight. We're going to try and be as quick as possible tonight because I am on standby for the Makers Guild tonight, so I'm going to have to finish by 8 o'clock, so excuse me for being brief and not chatting as much as I normally do, but hello, I love you all, just remember that. So first up, tonight, let's get the spin view going so I can at least introduce people because it would be rude otherwise. First up, ready to go, on the track, we have Ecstatic, if this is going to boot. Tim's now throwing things around next to the microphone. Deary me, this is so professional. This isn't even the right, my thing hasn't been prepared. This is all going to pot. My thing has not been prepared. I can tell that somebody has not pulled the repo where all the things live. Whose responsibility is that? So I'm going to have to do this by hand, which is very exciting. I can read that. You go and do what you have to do, Tim Freeburn, now away.
Roger that.
Excuse me, everybody. This has been a very busy afternoon. We've been sitting here waiting for an extra microphone as well, and Amazon was supposed to deliver it today, and they haven't. So we're very stressed and very ragged here, so sorry. So let's try that again with our first contestant ready to try and avoid the robot on the track. It is Ecstatic from Volkswagen in Germany. They list their experience as a little bit, a teeny tiny bit of programming, which I'm sure will grow as the competition goes on, because obviously there's a lot to do and a lot of things that you can learn from doing autonomous driving through Formula Pi. So we're wishing them good luck. I seem to remember they've been quite good in testing so far. I think they maybe had one session where they crashed, I can't remember. But hopefully the aim of the game tonight is to test your avoidance code to make sure that you can avoid the track, avoid the robots that are on the track. And this is kind of to simulate the first challenge session, which we'll be running next week. We'll be back much more organised with the second microphone next Wednesday. Wednesday. Deary me. This is multitasking. Right, send away Ecstatic.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
So you can see on the track there's a robot with a red light on, that is Ecstatic, and you can see ahead of it is a blue lighted robot. That is a static robot that's not going, it's not going anywhere. So hopefully Ecstatic will be able to avoid this robot and not just run into the back of it. That did not go to plan. Oh dear. So, Ecstatic, your avoidance code has not gone to plan, and I think the way we'll run this tonight is if you do not avoid on the first attempt, we will collect and move on to the next robot. Is that the rules, Tim Freeburn? Seems a little unfair, but
it's an extra testing session.
It is an extra testing session. We weren't intending to do this to start, so this is going to be really, really fast. Somebody says they have no sound. Can everybody hear me? I'm pretty sure I turned the microphone on. I can hear things in my own ears, and I can see that there's sound bouncing about on the microphone. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Maybe they can. I will run the spin view for the next person. I've got to write it in though, Tim. Oh no, I've just clicked on something I shouldn't have done. Let's hope it doesn't open the other window. See, it's when I have to multitask and I do all these things that I'm not supposed to be doing, and I'm not organised, and oh dearie me, leaving me to do all of the things that I'm supposed to be doing. Right, let's go with the next spin view. So next up on the track we have, seem to remember from Pavia, Italy, it's the team SHTP. They seem to do quite well last season. I believe they made it into the final. I haven't even got my reference notes up, so I'm going to get them up before we go. They've got 10 years C++, 10 years .NET, and 3 years Python experience, so a very experienced team between the three of them. Lots of programming experience to be done. So hopefully their avoidance code should be really, really good. So fingers crossed they'll be able to avoid the robot that's set up at the end of the straight, and they'll do really, really well. So everything crossed here, everything massively crossed. And hopefully they'll get around it okay. Sorry if I seem a little disjointed, but I am currently multitasking, which nobody can actually see. And I am desperately trying to get everything loaded whilst we get things organised. Tim's flipping the camera so we get a different angle on the avoidance now. So set them off, Tim, when you are ready. SHTP did the best time last year in the elimination rounds of 16.044, coming 9th overall in the competition. Did really, really well. So it was good for them, and there really wasn't much time separating the people. It was only a few seconds in the eliminators in terms of lap times. So really, it was very, very close. So hopefully they're looking to improve again this year. And yeah, I'm ready for going. So we're setting off SHTP now. So hopefully they will avoid the robot at the end of the straight. Let's see how they do. I can see the green, red, green being reflected off the front of that robot, and they're away. Can they avoid? No! It's another robot straight into the back of another robot. Oh, we wrote blogs, everyone. Oh, that's a fail. So I think we're being quite harsh here, aren't we, Tim?
We are.
Are you going to apologise? A little evil laugh and a no. So, somebody says the basic avoidance code does not work. At least that I now know, because they did a little alteration. Is that correct? Are you nodding?
Yes, the basic avoidance code.
Come here. You know better than to sit over in the corner and shout at people.
There we go. So the basic avoidance code is directly ported from the Yeti Borgs. It is not written for the Monster Borgs. I think we sort of have sent. We had a couple of bits of information on the blog that we showed out to people. So you will need to write some avoidance code. You will need to check things. This is what the simulator is quite good for, but you can't do everything in the simulator. So it actually does make sense to then do some real-world testing on it, which is the idea of these sessions.
This session, singular.
Well, yes.
Back to your corner.
Jawohl.
Well done. He's off now. Let's see. I've got my next spin view ready to go. I'm desperately multitasking and still context switching because I only finished work about 10 minutes ago, so I'm still thinking about CAD and triangles. Next up, we have the Halo Goodalls from Surrey in the UK. They have a lot of programming experiences. I know this for a fact. They've competed in the AstroPi competitions. Their code has been on the International Space Station. And as well, they've got 2 seasons worth of Formula Pi under their belts, coming 5th in the first season and 3rd in the last season, with their best eliminator time of 14.709. So really great competitors. Know that they're good fast robot drivers. But can they avoid? This is the big question. Can they do it? I've seen Hayla in the chat. Sorry, I'm just calling you by your surname, Richard. That's very military of me. I say Hayla, chap. I've been watching The Queen, and it's, everyone refers to each other by the surnames. It's very The Crown. That's it. Oh God. Do you see what I mean? All over the place today. Right. So there they are. Yes, please set them away to me. So he's setting off the next robot. Here we go. Can they avoid? At the end of the track, let's see if they can. Yes, there we go. The Halo Goodalls in the bag. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, a demonstration of how to avoid robots. To see if they can do it again. Yes, lovely. This is very, very good. That's how you do it. Just get out of the way. Get round. That was genuine, as Tim said, genuine avoidance. It is, there you go, you just saw it make a little dart there. As it got close to the robot, bang, it just moved to the left. You could see it move then. That was absolutely brilliant. Spot on. So, everyone needs to be tweeting Richard Hayla at RD Hayla on Twitter and saying, how'd you do that? Give me some tips, let me know. That is how it's done. Well done. So we'll keep it going for... Well, you say just using another lane hangover sound, but if you actually watch the robot, I'll shout when it moves. So if you look, it's in a straight line now, and then... Now, you see, you just changed the angle. Did you change the angle? Can you go to manual for a minute, Tim, and just keep it at that angle? Because when you change, when it does a little move. Can we go, so if we go on to the final, go on to the straight. Actually, yeah, keep it at that angle if you can. If you watch it as it goes. That was a little bit more straight. But those first two... It made a real obvious move to the right, and it started in the middle lane. So I can see they're doing it. Let's see if they do it this time. I think, can you force the camera? Drift in. You see, just as it went under the bridge, it makes a slight move to the right. Nicole Jordan says haters gonna hate, potato's gonna potate. It's, you know, it's definitely, I can vouch for that code. Definitely. Is this going to be a more obvious one? Yes, there, you see it made a move to the right as it detected the robot in its field of view. Probably about 3 or 4 robot lengths before it made a move to the right. Brilliant. First 2-minute run completed. Congrats, Richard. Congrats to Oscar and Jasper? Yes. Ozzy and Jasper. Somebody says, I'm no hater, just saying it could simply be done hard-coded. You say that, but the robot's not always going to be in the middle of the track. The robot could be on the inside of the track. So you can't hard-code a robot being placed. And if I'm right, Tim Freeburn, are the robots going to be randomly placed in Challenge 1?
Yes.
They are going to be randomly placed in Challenge 2.
Randomly placed around the track.
Come back to the microphone.
Okay.
Here's how it's going to work.
So I say randomly placed. Actually, they will be placed in positions that we decide probably to be a little bit evil and to actually test people's code to see whether they do actually avoid the other robots. So we won't be too evil. We won't be putting 2 together and really ruining your day, but they will be certainly in different lanes, potentially at different angles as well.
So there you have it from the mouth of Tim. This is going to be, for this, the position. Well, was the position known? Did we tell people that's where we were going to put the robot when we?
For this test, yes.
Okay, yes, we did. So for this test, yeah, you could hard code it and say, please go to the inside lane. But when it comes to racing, when it comes to the challenge, you're not going to succeed. So it's a question of planning for racing rather than planning for testing. This is a whole metaphor for coding in life, isn't it? This is a wider programming metaphor of, you don't just program for the cases you've got in front of you. You program for the 99% of the things that you can possibly think of, and pray that the 1% don't come and bite you in the arse. And that's basically how commercial programming. Is that a swear word? Bottom. Whew. Jeff Riley's back in the chat. Good evening, Jeff. It has been a while. Lovely to have you back. Hope you're well. It has been a while. Right, so now I've said I wasn't going to chat, and I have just chatted, so I'm going to stop chatting now, and we're going to get on to the next robot. So, next up, shuffle papers firstly, we have number 96, which is the Solar Cats from Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the team from the college in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We've met their teacher at Pi Wars. I had a complete blank then. And this is another separate team that are taking on Formula Pi for the first time. They range from beginners to intermediates, doing Python, C++, C#, and Java. This is their first time doing Formula Pi. They've done well in the testing. I think first one was good. I don't think they got away in the second one. It might have missed the lights, I seem to remember. But happy to have them here. Stoked to have them on board. Really looking forward to seeing how they get on with this avoidance. So, fingers crossed for another. See if we can get around this car.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
I'm just going to set them off. I'm going to go again. See if they can make a move. Let's see if it's just a... Oh no! Straight into the back. Oh. So that's what we deem to be a failure. If you hit it, you're done. That's it. Because game over. So maybe Richard, if you're still in the chat, seeing as you did so well at this, I don't know. Maybe do you want to share some tips with people, or should we share tips with people? That's probably better. I think we should probably write a little bloglet on how to help people do this. I feel like that might be a good thing. Further.
We just don't want to do everyone's code for everyone.
It's true. We don't want to do the job that everyone else is supposed to be learning and doing. But yeah. Pico's Pit Stop says stopping the test early is extremely harsh. We've set up a sequence with settings being changed every 10 seconds. Please let them run for the full 2 minutes.
If they sit on the back and crash and spin around upside down, that sort of thing, I think that's all we can do.
Okay. Controversial. Very controversial. I am raising my eyebrows at him because I put and Pico says, I challenge you to put one of the house robots running a standard code through the same test.
It will crash.
It will crash. we said that. this was the idea is to try and we're trying to guide people in how to write avoiding code through the blogs that we've written, the things that we've put out, and encourage people to try and discover as much as possible. I'm gonna beat him into writing a blog that gives some really big hints, but the Halo Goodalls have it nailed, so maybe they could share some hints and tips too. But yeah, I think it is harsh.
Yeah. Okay.
Tim's saying okay and wondering. Remember, this is extra. We weren't planning to do this, so we are here out of our own time. So please be nice. I'm trying to be nice. Okay, next up. I'm tip-tapping away to sort out my spin view to get the next person up. Next up, we have Dino 2 from Nantes in France. Again, seems to do alright in the testing. I seem to remember got a few laps under their belts going round. Have between low and average coding experience, so hoping to get some more coding experience here. And hopefully we'll avoid this robot successfully. This is becoming quite a controversial session, Tim Freeburn. You're hiding in the corner and letting me take all the flack. Yeah. Also, bear in mind, if the reason for us picking up the robots when they crash, and Jeff Riley being the perfect person to be in the chat this evening to testify, these robots might be hardy, but they are not indestructible. And we have a finite supply of these robots. We have a finite amount of time. We have a finite amount of money to do this. So if we do let robots just keep bashing into the back of a stationary robot in testing formats like this, we're putting at risk the racing, because we, like I say, we have finite parts. Some parts we have to get shipped from, miles away from different parts of the world, and if we do destroy the robots and break them, it means that it puts the racing at risk. And I'm sure you'll all agree with me when I say that we would rather race than destroy robots. That's what Robot Wars is for.
Yeah. Another thing is with the Raptor class, which is coming, they will be much easier to destroy, and especially with the additional speed of them. So what we are trying to do by this is make sure that people are well prepared to get into that class.
Yeah, I think that's it. So we will do our best to try and put some lessons out and do some stuff. I haven't done sponsors messages, which were supposed to be at this point, but shall I leave them till the end and we'll just get through. Okay, then I have to sort out my stuff and get my stuff sorted. Dino 2. I have done a spin view. This is 101 still on the track.
Are you ready?
Yes, ready.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Start light sequence, please.
Oh, a little bit of a thought. Yes, now you see there, you can't doubt that. You cannot doubt that. Dino 2, well done. That is amazing. Good work. You can see it thought about the robot, took a little reverse, came back, and is now in the inside lane. And again, it didn't really move that time round. It'd be interesting to see if we moved out. And, I'm kind of thinking putting the robot in the middle was a bad idea. If we'd put it in the inside lane, then everyone really would have been practicing avoidance. Because now, he's in race mode.
Yeah.
So...
The idea of putting it at the end of the centre of the straight was to allow people to test their code.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, let's see. This is actually going a little bit towards it. Getting to do very well, but that was a concerted effort at the start there to make a move. So, yeah, Excellent. Dino 2 sorted. +1 for them too. Good. Sorry if I seem a little grumpy tonight as well. I've been unwell again, and I've been laying up on the sofa for days and days, so I'm a little bit grumpy and pain tonight. So I don't mean to be snappy at people in the chat, so I apologise for that. For being overly defensive. Yes, good effort. This is great from Dino 2, and some good lap times as well. Around the 15-second mark, that's pretty good. So Dino 2 nailed on as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, next week, for the challenge session 1, we will have a second microphone set up next to Tim, so you'll be able to hear him chatting away. So he won't sound like he's in a box somewhere in another room. These are very good laps and very consistent as well. So that initial avoidance, even with that slight reverse to get into position to then avoid, it was very, very good. So that is 3 minutes up for Dino 2. Congratulations, team in Nantes, France. It's brilliant work. Well done. Right, so talking of helping us out being here, I have to do a little... I can't find anything today. I'm going to have to up my game for next week. I really am. Right. Let's see. So, you all know it. I say it every week. We wouldn't be here without the help of some wonderful, wonderful people who've given us some support to help us get Formula Pi going and to help us support the racing series. So first up, we've got Electromaker, hardware community group. They've got a competition launching on December 19th. Head to electromaker.io for more information. There are some amazing prizes on offer. Next up, our lovely friends in Sheffield, Pi Moroni. Go and check out their stuff. Their Yar Booty competition over the Black Friday weekend was incredible. So congrats, guys, for pulling that off. It's amazing. And they love the glittery logo for Christmas. Is brilliant. Self-driving track days. Alex and the team. Lovely autonomous driving track days. You can go and drive real big cars with autonomous driving software. Next up, IQ Audio, also competing in Formula Pi for the second season running. All the audio goodness that you'd ever want for your Raspberry Pi. Next up, ITI, my company. I work for them. We make wonderful software to do with data translation for CAD and CAM and CAE, CFD, anything to do with engineering, and we're your people for data management. POSIX do wonderful GPS positioning systems, which we're actually using in the Raptor class, I believe, for positioning of the cars. Hot Packers, Hannah and Tristan down in Canterbury. Hello, Brewing Collective. Wonderful homebrew beers and have lovely recipes and all sorts of things with they're wonderful. Check them out. Mod My Pi, our partners in crime. Check out their website and see all their lovely Raspberry Pi goodness that they've got on sale, and go and buy some stuff. And finally, if you want to sponsor us, if you want to help us out and keep this going, because it's not cheap to run this, please get in touch, info@formulapi.com. Give us a shout, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, keep going. Because we do enjoy doing it. We do. Despite me being a bit grumpy today, sorry everyone. I'm not quite my usual perky self. Alright, next up. I think it's I'm just not ready, I'm not prepared, and everything's a bit wonky. So, all my paperwork's gone in the wrong order. I've got nothing printed out. Next up, we have Wacky Racer, with the emphasis on hacky. You know, I love a good pun. Number 85 from Saint-Ouen in France. They are beginners in Python and Raspberry Pi. Had some quite good testing, and they've got this wonderful lid from obviously... Oh, God, I've lost all my words. With Muttley on top and everything. And they are looking brilliant. I love their lid. It's so pretty. There are some great lids this year. Everyone's put in so much effort to the lids. It just makes the racing look so cool. They look so great, and this one in particular is very pretty. They seem to do quite well in the testing. I seem to remember had a couple of good results. So again, looking good for them. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they're avoiding all the stuff well. Yes, please, Tim, if you would send them away.
Okay, start the light sequence, please.
Okay, let's go. Let's see how Happy Races get on. Oh no! It looked like it did a little bit. That's 2 hits. Oof. I can hear it banging from here. I think we're going to have to count that as an out. The lack of avoidance there. Pico says we can't tell the difference between robots doing avoidance and robots following the blue line like normal. Next week with more obstacles will be the real test. Yes, I do agree with you, Pico. It is difficult to tell which the robots are avoiding. You can. It's easy. I say it's easy. It's easier for us to tell what's happening because we're used to we're used to looking at these robots, so we know how they move. We know what their normal behaviour looks like. But I think it's because we know what we're looking for, and it's one of those things that I think the challenge next week, like you say, will be a lot easier to tell who's doing it and who isn't.
Certainly, if you go for the inside line and just try and drive on the inside of the track tonight, that might get your robot going around the track, but it doesn't get you any points. It doesn't get you anything. The 2 testing sessions that we ran before would have given you an idea of how fast you can get, what your best lane choice is. The idea of this is simply just to avoid. Next in the challenge round, it will be very obvious. People will crash into the back if they haven't got avoidance code, and you won't get any points. So it is quite important. And it's also, I think a lot of people are just 100% power all the time. Potentially that's not the best strategy in these challenge races.
That's a good point, actually. Well raised. So 100%, it might be worth kind of slowing down. And yeah, Richard, I agree. It did look like it did try to avoid twice, but it just didn't do enough to get round it, and it did make 3 hits. So it kind of Tim's doing some weird spin view. He wants to do spin. Jeff, is it me or is there a lot? Jeff, we had this problem last week, and actually yesterday, for everyone, we had BT actually at the end of the road at the box, doing some work on the box because our phone kept randomly doing 1 ring and then going off again. So we know that there's some problems with the fibre down here because they're down in their van nearly every day. Pico's Pit Crew says, if the robots are so fragile, why are you planning to use them as obstacles in the races? Wouldn't a plain old brick do a better job? Well, yeah, but then the robot that drives into the brick would get destroyed. So,
The robots aren't trying to avoid bricks, are they? They're trying to avoid other robots.
Yeah, we'd have to find a grey brick with black edges. We could paint a brick to look like a robot. There's a challenge. Paint a foam block that looks like a robot and see if you can get the camera to pick it up. And the robots aren't fragile, but the speed, the speed of the robots approaching the other robots is what does it. We saw it a lot with the Yeti Borgs, which is why we moved up to this class, because they're a bit more resilient. But the repeated bash, 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 we saw things breaking last year. So yes, I will do my spin view, Tim. I know you're looking at me with evil eyes because you want me to get on, because I'm waffling again. Right, next up, old favourites from Formula Pi. It is the Super War Brothers from Boise, Idaho. They've done 2 series of Formula Pi so far, so they are well versed in racing. They came second in the 2016 race series in the winter, so close behind Enigma, and they really, really were back and forth position all the way through the series, and it was so close in the end. But they were just pipped to the post. And then last year they came 14th, which was just, I think they had a lot of problems, and it was a difficult move from the Yetis to the Monsters, and it wasn't what they expected. And they're back this year to try and prove us wrong. Testing's gone well so far. I think everything's been reasonably good. I think they got 19.36 was the best lap time they got last testing session. So moving, still going, still looking good. So hopefully, fingers crossed for the brothers from Idaho, this will be all right. So I'm just sorting myself out for the next bit now. Yes, please, Tim, send them away.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Okay, let's go. Oh, another one, straight into the back.
Alright, please.
and possibly reposition the other robot, I guess. Is Aaron doing that as well? Yeah, he is. So yeah, there we go. So that was a back. Somebody said, I'm sponsored. Can I expect money from my sponsor? Well, sponsorship doesn't always work like that. Right? I come from BMX. I may have told you this. And in the past, when I've been sponsored, sponsorship's not necessarily money. Doesn't necessarily always mean money. It could mean tyres. It could mean gloves. It could mean like a physical thing that you could actually use while you're racing. So for us, we're thinking of setting up a Patreon so people can donate if they want to donate a small amount, so we can buy extra cameras, tracking devices, things that will improve the series. Yeah, like Jeff says, it's the finance, the production of the actual series, because obviously it takes time for us to do this. It takes time for us to service the robots. It takes electricity to run the track. We have to pay for the internet, although it's being flaky, and I'm going to beat up BT next week if this isn't fixed. So yeah, it's all this sort of thing. Dino2 says, I need money too. Yeah, don't we all? Preach. We're all there. I'm doing this for free. I'm not even being paid at all. I mean, I've got a teacup here. It's empty. Don't even at least get tea. And nothing here.
Okay, I'll get tea.
I don't need a tea right now. It's very late. I don't have tea this late. Right. Caffeine will keep me up. Let's do that. And let's do this. Let's crack on. Next up, we have a new contestant to Formula Pi from Canada. Possibly our first Canadian competitors, I believe. The team is Farstar, and they are from Toronto in Canada. They have written countless lines of code. I want to know how many countless lines of code. And this made me think when I read this last time, how many lines of code have we all written? You know, but from if I'd have started counting from when I started coding, where would I be at now?
At least 5.
At least 5. At least 5. Cheeky. I think if I wrote 5 lines of code, I think my boss would have fired me long ago for not writing enough code. 5 lines of code over 7 years. It's pretty...
5 lines, but very efficient.
5 very efficient... It's Python. Very efficient lines. That is exactly the number of lines. So, Farstar, are they ready? Off we go.
Robot 103.
Felix says, when is my Team Skiasmo coming up? I don't have you on my list, so I'm not sure you got code back for the deadline. Is that true, Tim Freeburn?
Everyone who submitted code should be running, so if they haven't submitted code...
Okay, so
they
from
need
what...
to submit code every test session.
So,
or every session.
yeah, I did reiterate this last series, but I haven't done so far. Code needs to be submitted every deadline. So the deadline for this session was Monday. So you needed to have code submitted on Monday for today. So for the challenge, next Wednesday, the deadline will be Monday, which is the 18th of December. Code needs to be in by that day. For example, I'll give you the example that made us do it like this. Was the first season we ran it, we had a team who put some code in on the first session. Their robot drove backwards the whole time, and it drove backwards around the track, and every single race it just went, and it caused absolute chaos, but they didn't put any new code in for the first 3 races. So then we ended up in a bit of a dilemma. Kind of like, if somebody could do this, they could ruin the whole series for everyone just by making their robot drive backwards all the time. So we implemented the rule of code has to be in on that day, even if you don't make any changes at all, then that's it. And I'm so sorry, Felix. I'm really sorry, and condolences. But I'm really, really sorry. And hopefully the family will get together and things will get brighter. But I'm really sorry.
Okay, shall we run?
Yes. Where are we at now?
You have done the spin view, I believe.
Yes, please.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Was that an attempt?
That was definitely fine. That was the reversing.
Okay. Oh, it's got round it. Something's happening now.
That is an deliberate attempt to avoid.
Okay, so Farstar here made an attempt to avoid hit and then got round. So we'll let them come round again because they're obviously coming on the midline, so they're going to be in line for the robot. We can confirm that that was a proper avoidance attempt. Let's watch and see. That's debatable. I think that's probably, it's making an attempt, but I think it's possibly logic of, oh, I've hit something, let's reverse and go around it. Does that count in your book?
There are no sensors on the robot to say it had an impact.
Okay.
So that was
That's an interesting tactic actually, isn't it? I didn't think about it like that. Because in my head, avoidance... Sorry, I'm sat away from the microphone. In my head, avoidance is always kind of... You see something and you make a decided move to go round it. But in this case, twice, that was really interesting actually, going up to the robot, seeing it, reversing a little bit, and then setting off again. That's quite a good... It's another technique. So that's a possible. If you can... If the processing that you could do in that time can't work out quick enough what to do, you could always say, okay, I've stopped, use the avoidance code. The same way as the... Would you put some code out for hitting the barriers and reversing from the barriers when getting stuck?
yes.
Similar
So
logic.
we've done additional blobs on that to
Okay.
improve it.
So that's another way to go. If avoidance is something that might be slightly too complicated or something that you can't quite get your head around, there is some codes to help you get unstuck, which might be another approach. That's a different way of doing it. It's quite interesting. So thank you, Farstar, for using a different approach. See, this is what I liked about Formula Pi for the last two series, is seeing everyone's different approach to the same problem. It's been fascinating to watch. So next up, let's move quickly on to the next one. We've got a couple left, and then it is time for me to go and have some dinner. Next up, we've got the IT guy from Independence, Oregon, who did confirm to me he is a Brit. So hello, chap. From Independence, Oregon, 5 years of Python and PHP in spare time. Did really well last year in the series and came second and had a lap time in the eliminators of 13.939 seconds and gave me a heart attack because every lap he kept mounting the wall and then getting down again, and even then managed to set the fastest lap time even with the chaotic eliminator that he ran. It's well worth watching if you've got a chance. Go back on YouTube and find the repeat video. So yeah, IT guy, here he is. I've seen Nicole in the chat already. So hello, good evening, Mrs. IT guy. So Tim, are we off? Are we ready? Are we good?
I think we're just about... Have you done this? You've done this thing?
Yeah, just did it. You heard me do it.
Okay, satellites.
I'm very shirty today. Very sassy today.
Sequence when you're ready, please.
Okay, so I think Aaron's still waiting, isn't he? Yeah, I'm very sassy today. You may, if you were watching last series, you remember there was one week when Tim had to commentate all by himself, and he was quite panicky because he didn't know what was happening to me because I was in hospital. That same problem has reared its ugly head, and I've been on the floor again. So I'm a bit sassy today. We're off. Green, red, green. Let's see if the IT guy can avoid. Oh, no. Oh. Did that. Whoa. And I can just see Jamie's in the chat. Good evening. Watching from work. Dino2's watching from a car. I love where people... Everyone, where are you watching from? Let me know. Am I on a television? Am I in your car? Am I in your office? Am I being watched by all your colleagues? Everyone wondering, who is this woman? What is she banging on about? And again, we've been very disorganised this testing. I really need to sort everything out for next week and get a bit more organised, I feel. Right, so penultimate. You know I love a good pun. I really, really love a good pun. Penultimate. Oh my God, Tim. God damn, winning the penultimate driver in tonight's Formula Pi. is ta-ta-ta-ta, Pico Hulkenborg. I love it so much. From Oxford in the UK, basic knowledge of other languages, and they are learning Python, which is exciting. I'm about to learn Python. I do a little bit of work, but I tend to, just let other people do it because I'm much better at Fortran. But Pico Hulkenborg, appreciating the Formula One pun and use of Pyborg, I just, it's the best. I love a good pun. Pun ultimate as well. Yeah, Tim, brilliant. So good. ISSFTW. How are you supposed to avoid the robot? Are there any examples? Yes, there are blogs that outline this. I am going to make it my duty. I'm going to set up a buffer and I'm going to tweet every day from now until the deadline for code, Monday, one of the avoidance blogs. I'm going to do it. Tim, we're not leaving this building until I've set that up. And we can put out a tweet. So go and follow our Twitter, which is at @FormulaPie_. Also, I might do it. I won't do it on Pyborg. I don't want to put it on Pyborg too much because that's not Formula Pi. But I will put it on @FormulaPie_. Also, go and check the website, which we're hoping to overhaul in the summer. I will be redesigning it myself. So brace yourselves. I'll be getting my WordPress skills out. So we'll hopefully redesign that in summer as well. Will we get logs from this round? Is asking the IT guy. Yes. In answer to your question, yes, you will get logs from this. Pico Hulkenborg is good to go.
Okay, start light sequence, please.
Pun ultimate, that makes
Okay, start light
I'm
sequence,
wriggling
please.
after that pun. Alright, see how Pico Hulkenborg goes. The pit crew are ready and waiting. Oh, he's off. He's off. He's moving. Right, we're going. This could also be a good strategy. Yes. No. Oh. Oh, I was so excited then. I was like, yes, he's going round. No. Oh. But let it run, as I have had from Pico, that there is some extra stuff that's going to change every so often. Give it until that timer at the bottom says 60. I'm feeling generous. You might not be feeling generous, Tim Freeburn, but I'm feeling generous. It might be the painkillers kicking in, but I am feeling generous. Right, so Pico Hulkenborg approaching the robot for the second time now. Just around the side. Oh, it does really good parallel parking. I'm racking my brains as to what that could be. That's really interesting. You're getting perfectly alongside the robot, but just... Yeah, I think we have to call that one a day.
Okay, can you pick the robot up, please?
That was a...
Okay, can you pick the robot up, please?
Again, it sort of... Jeff Riley said, what happened? It buffered as it approached. It kind of went alongside and then started to reverse. It was like doing a parallel park. It was there, and then it went back and back along, and it did it twice, 2 or 3 times. That's close to getting round. This is obviously nearly there.
Yeah, that's quite possibly the stuck detection code kicking in. It might be the threshold's a bit low on that.
Sorry, I'm just throwing Tim's mobile phone away from the microphone because all I can hear is me,
sorry.
me, me, me. Didn't I tell you to be on airplane mode?
Yes,
He's not very good at this, being professional. Is he? Alright, timer please, Timothy Rayburn. Oh, good evening, Archie. Archie Rokes has just arrived in the chat. Congrats on Wonky Resistor, by the way. I don't think I've had a chance to properly congratulate you because it's been a busy few weeks. Go and check out Wonky Resistor. I think I've got the name right. It's Archie's new shop. The first board I've seen from you is a little game controller to go on top of the Pi Zero. It's a wonderful looking board. It's really good. So congrats. Go and check that out. Yeah, right. So we've got lots of things to do actually before the next session, Tim Freeburn. I'm spinning. I'm doing my final spin, and I don't have a sheet for this one because I think I know who this is. So finally, we have IQ Audio from Cricklade in the UK, one of our sponsors, but they've also decided to race in the series as well. Did really well last year in the series, actually came first in the heats and were top of the leaderboard going into the eliminators. And then it all went wrong for that, and they ended up 10th in the eliminators with 16.12, not too far off everyone else. but it just didn't quite go well for them on the day. But they're back this year with more things to do and more racing to be done. Go and check out their boards. Go and check out all of the stuff they do because they are wonderful. And Gordon did recommend an amazing curry house when we were up for Robot Wars in May. Oh yeah, by the way, also, if you all watched Robot Wars this series, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you can actually see mine and Tim and the lovely Mike and Tim from Cambridge Jam's faces at various points during the series. You get pro points if you spot us. You can see us. You can see me more in episode 5. Yeah, I'm there. I saw it. I saw everything. It's brilliant. This series was so good. The final was incredible. If you're going to watch any of them, just watch the final. It was immense. It was the best thing. Shout out to Dr. Lucy Rogers. Right. Okay, last one. And then that's it. And then I'm going home because it is Makers Guild tonight. Yeah, so go and check it out. If you're once you're done here and you've had your dinner, because obviously you've got to have a bit of a break, head out on Twitter, go and follow #MakersHour. And tonight actually it's in English and German. So if you want to go and answer some questions in German, that's cool. We'll have some bilingual maker action going on. And I'm going to be sharing all the electronics I've done this week. Because as Jeff said, I have been up late. I have been learning electronics. I did variable resistors yesterday, and I feel like a god now. I can control anything. That's it. Can't be beaten. Send them off, please, Tim. IQ Audio away. I've got an idea for my first make, and I'm about to launch a blog as well, which is very exciting. So, eyes peeled for that. I've got a logo and everything. I feel really grown up. Right, IQ Audio away. And they're around. Was that avoidance? It was very early if it was. Wow. IQ Audio putting in the hours. Excellent. This is really good. Okay, so they're staying on the midline. So. Oh, you can see it was making a decision there as he got. So I'm going silent. Like, is he going to do it? Is he going to get around it? Yeah, he got around it. Yeah, that's obviously it's making a decision. It's getting closer. Whatever the IQ Audio guys are doing, it's clearly doing the business. Staying on the red line. I wouldn't call that an avoidance quite, but that at least is still going. Maybe one more lap, Tim, because it has made contact. And other people, we have given up for less. See how they do on this one. Keeping it at a wide angle. See if we can actually see it doing the avoidance. Yeah, you see it slowed down ever so slightly and then did a little wiggle. So you can see it's kind of. I say it's easy for me to see because I look at these things a lot. I've seen these robots drive around loads. Dino2's asking, base red code could work with a moving monster board, not static. Is it only overtake code? Tim is fucking. He's watching very, very intently. He can't possibly answer my questions right now. Oh! It's just a hit there. I think that's it. We have to call it a day for that one. Now it's hit. Yeah, that's it. Catch it when it comes round. I think that is it. So we're done. I think that's everybody's had a go at overtaking. So, I actually have a question for everyone in the chat. I know you're probably all about to go and have your dinner. Just quickly in the chat, if you could type out, what is the most helpful thing that we could do? Right, so we have blogs, we can email you, we can tweet stuff, we can... What else can we do? Send up smoke signals, carrier pigeons. How best can we help you see all of the blogs and things that we've done? Is it good to put it on Twitter? Is that a good thing? Everybody, quickly in the chat. I'm going to put my stopwatch on for a minute whilst I'm talking and wrapping up.
So, Dino2, your question is correct. The code that we'd written for the Yeti Borgs to overtake is expecting that the robot in front is moving as well. So you're absolutely right. It was a simple port, but it should not be difficult to take what that code is doing and improve it. And as I said before, especially if you're not just going 100% power all the time and you are actually looking at what's going on in front of you.
Okay. Nicole Jordan has opted for telepathy. Might have to have a word with the our resident X-Men about that, but we'll see what we can do about telepathy. We'll get that going. There's a vary. Emails, blogs, Twitter. Right, so for the next week, right, I'm gonna make a promise for everyone. If you are on Twitter, go and follow at Formula Pi _. Go there now. Don't pass go. Do not pause. Do not wait. Go there. Do it. And we will post all of the blogs that have useful code in and useful advice as to how to do avoidance code. Tim Freeburn, can you write one more blog this week which gives a bit more in-depth details about how to overtake, maybe going a bit higher level than the basic ones that we've put out so far? Right, so Tim will do an advanced blog, which I will also put out on Twitter at Formula Pi _. We will make up an email with all of the links of all of the blogs in, and we will send that email out to you if you are signed up on... How do we do email normally?
Well, if you're a competitor, we will send emails out to all the competitors.
Right, if you're a competitor, we will send an email to you as a competitor. If you're not a competitor and you would like the stuff via email...
Become a competitor.
No. Can you create an account, say, on the Formula Pi website?
It will be a blog, so you can go to the Formula Pi website and have a look at blogs.
Okay, so if you're not a competitor and you won't receive it via email, head to www.formulapi.com and just click on the word blog, and we will put a blog at the top which has links to all of the existing blogs, and there will be a new blog as written by Tim about overtaking. Everyone, how does that... Old competitors too, says Jeff? For emails?
So it will be a blog, so everyone can access it. But yeah, if you like, we can send you an email, which will just be a link to that blog.
Okay.
We
So
can do.
all right. So the main format will be blog. There will be a blog. It will be public. Everyone can see it. We will email current competitors. All
Yes.
competitors.
We can name our all competitors.
We'll email all competitors. Why not? It's Christmas. And I will put up... Tim's going to give me a list of the links. I will tweet them all out on Twitter at Formula Pi _. So keep your eyes peeled on that. If you really are desperate to see them on Twitter, you can set notifications to get notifications on your phone whenever we tweet. That's it. Jeff Riley's cheering at you, sending it to all competitors.
Okay, so there's probably a question there for Aaron.
So Aaron's just
Which
come
is-
down from the upstairs.
I saw that blog post titled "Avoiding Traffic." How do I get the error points mentioned in the article using OpenCV? Any question you want to ask back on that?
So, from that article, from memory, this was talking about matching the colours. So, looking at the track, you've got, for example, red lane next to green lane, and the walls are only against those red and green lanes at the outer edges. So, if it sees, say, a wall next to a blue lane, that's clearly not valid. And what the code does is labels that as an error point, effectively. And these unknown points, error points, are just literally that list of points that don't really make sense to the code.
So ISSFTW, does that make sense? I hope so, because we're about to close the feed. So yeah, to reiterate, we'll write another blog. We'll send out an email to competitors with links, all of the blogs that we've written so far. I will share the blogs on Twitter. Basically go to the blog, formulapi.com/blog. It's all there. Scroll through the posts and everything's there. Hopefully you'll have a good week between now and then. I've just realised, Tim Freeburn. 20th of December. Is there anything else happening on the 20th of December? He's looking at me blankly. We're moving house. So
It's not important.
it's not important as Formula Pi. It's just clearly not as important. But please, there's a couple of messages. Best thing you do is sort streaming out and be on the ball with getting organised before races. Pico's Pit Crew in Oxford. Please feel free to come to Cambridge and help us. We are moving house next Wednesday. I also have a 9 to 5 job. I'm also a coach at the local BMX club. At some point I might sleep, but yes, we will desperately try to be ready, and we do appreciate that we're not very organised this week. But this wasn't planned, so there you are. Also, I am totally up for having helpers. So if you want to come up to Cambridge and help out, I can promise you no pay, but any help you could give us in getting sorted would be massively, massively appreciated. And thank you all for your patience. And yes, we will investigate the feed. That really does need to be investigated now. I think it's becoming weird because we've been running things on Twitch this week without any issue. So I'm not quite sure why it's weird. You've got a new hub.
There's a new hub to try.
Tim has a new hub to try, so that will be bit. So if we do sort of pop on and off this week, thank you, Richard, for the back getting better soon. You can't. A herniated disc is not. I wish it on no one. Genuinely wish it on no one. Hence why my prep has not been as good. I can only stand up or lie down. I cannot sit. Imagine that, people. Right, I'm going now before I start getting into a sob story about how awful I feel. Right, we're going now. I love you all. And we will speak to you next week. So thank you all again. And
Thank you.
coding on Monday. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.